Morning, everybody. This is Wednesday. My name is Jay Johnson. We're at the church in Royal, Illinois. Tomorrow's going to be Ascension Day. That's the occasion was Jesus went back up to heaven. Now, the interesting thing is he had to come down here in order to go back up there. And it was a bold step for him to take the chance. Well, he was God, so it wasn't really a chance, but it was a bold step for him to do that. I'm going to share this little thing because we're just finished on Sunday. We talked about 1 Corinthians. The passage was about love. And we talked about love as the word chesed. Chesed means to do a whole variety of things like show grace, mercy, compassion, kindness. All those things are wrapped up in that one gigantic concept of chesed. Different, much more comprehensive than just the word love. So, here's the story. When I was 19, I decided, well, actually, I was going to go to college, and they told me I had to have a foreign language, and I didn't want to study foreign languages. It just seemed like a waste of time to me. It wasn't. I shouldn't say that now, but I did. So I decided, well, what's a good way for me to learn a language? And I thought, and there was a thing that was pretty new then. It was called the Peace Corps. That was brought in by President Kennedy back in 1961. So when I was 19, I talked to my dad. I said, hey, Dad, I remember I was talking with him because we were raised on a farm in central Illinois, outside of Peoria, Hannah City. I said, Dad, would it be okay if I joined the Peace Corps? He said, well, what's that? So I explained what it was. And he said, do you have to wear a uniform? I said, no. He said, what do they pay you? I said, they give me about $100 a month. He said, can you live on that? I said, yeah, I think so. Other people do. So I said, I'd like to try it. My plan was to go there and work in agriculture and raise hogs. That was my plan because we raised hogs on our farm. So that was the plan. And so I went through Peace Corps training. And then when I was 20, just after I turned 20, I went into the Peace Corps and I ended up going to South America. Here's a little story that happened. I was green as grass. I was a big kid, and I couldn't speak anything. My Spanish was about this much. But I tagged around with some of these other guys with these agriculture extension agents, and there was one guy, his name was Gustavo. We went to various places, and I kind of hung around. And one day, Gustavo said, "You're going to talk today." And I was like, I'm not talking. I'm not going to talk. He goes, you are going to talk. And you're going to talk to these guys today. And I said, I will not talk. And I'd hung around with these guys out. We were in this kind of an open area. It's kind of like an open shed. It was open on three sides and it had a wall on one side. There was about 15 guys, and they were all poor. And they were dressed in rags. Probably half of them didn't have shoes. And they were talking, and I couldn't understand a word they were saying. My Spanish was about this much. And so he said, you're going to go out there and you're going to tell them what you're going to do. I said, I can't express myself. He said, you're going out there and you're going to talk. I said, I will not. He said, you're going to go out there. I was at him, I will not. He goes, well, then go home. Get out of here. If you're not going to at least take the time to invest a few words in these people, then just leave right now, because I'm sick and tired of this kind of nonsense where you're not even willing to try. Was that pressure? Man, my face was getting red. I'm just turned 20. I'm big and dumb as a man. I'm scared spitless. So when the time come, he said, and it was all in Spanish. So he said, mi compañero Jay va a venir para hablar contigo. So I got up, and all these eyes, these 15 pair of eyes, turned on me, and they're staring at me. And I'm scared. I'm really scared. And my Spanish was about like this. This is basically what I said. Hola, mi nombre Jay. Yo trabajo usted, yo trabajo usted, aquí, two años, 2 años. Yo trabajo, gracias. And that was it. That was a pretty poor showing. But you know what they did? They all applauded. They were just like, they thought that was great. And I'm thinking, what did I do? So one was all over. I talked to the guy in the back. I said, why did they do that? They said, Jay, you're probably the first white man they've ever seen. Ever. And what they think of a lot of white men is, white men, they don't care about them. And the fact that you even showed up, that you walked in and you willingly spent the hour and a half at the session and you talked to them in your pitiful Spanish, that meant the world to them. What that man did for me that day was huge, because it got me thinking, is everybody as afraid of speaking as I am? They're probably as afraid of me as I am of them. And those guys, they wouldn't even talk to me afterwards. They would, they all shook my hand and they bowed their heads and they were kind of quiet as they walked away. But I realized that they were so humble. And I realized from that day on, if I was going to have an impact, I had to say something. And I believe that the Holy Spirit works through each one of us. I believe the Holy Spirit uses you, even in your most humble settings. You will never know how strong you are. You will never know how wise you can be. You will never know the impact that God has caused you to have on other people's life. You will never know until you put your faith in Him. And I would have to say, one of the hinges in my life turned that day. Okay, I could make a fool out of myself, but what's the worst that could happen? I could have a bunch of campesinos in a little town in Ecuador that would laugh at me. They may be laughing at me today, but you know what? I don't think so. Because otherwise they wouldn't have greeted me the way they did afterwards. They wouldn't have just said, thank you very much, in their own way. Jesus calls us to do that. Jesus is calling you to do that. Jesus is calling you to share whatever minuscule amount of love that you have, to share it and pass it on to somebody. Remember what I said last time about just simply smiling at somebody? God has called us to share that way. So thanks for coming by. Talk to you later. See you next week. Bye now.